I will not be imprisoned again.
Of the absolute. Returning.
Yeah, how many games was that? Genuinely speaking here, how many games was it actually in that list here, right? Because I did a little clip here, right? Of there was more than 10 games that I showed you guys, and I would guess like 2 or 3 games. They all look goddamn the same, right? So let's talk about it. So hello everyone, my name is Monden, right? I've been a game developer for many years, and the earliest morning then did a co-stream, right? Where I released below for that, for the whole reaction to it. And I'm not saying these games are terrible or whatever, right? This game might be amazing, right? This game might have amazing gameplay and so on. However, I genuinely have a hard time telling the difference here. This is Remnant 2, and this here is Lords of the Fallen. Those two could be the same game. They have the exact same bleak background, kind of the same characters. I mean, holy shit, man. So, in my full stream, right, early this morning, I kept talking about it that, yes, we have some FF16, right, Blue Protocol, etc. They have some more, you know, kind of anime, colorful Japanese games, right? And not every Western game had the new, like, cop game or whatever and so on, right? The new crime game and so on, right? So not every game isn't bleak and boring, so to speak, in my opinion. But from the general standpoint, though, more than half the trailers looks almost exactly the same. And I really mean it, right? From a color standpoint, they only have like 3 colors, and it's black and white and gray, so it's very bleak. And it's red, right? We have the blood, right? That's the only thing we get to see. So when I watched this thing early this morning for like what, 3-4 hours, right? I mean it here. I was really bored out of my mind. Some of the trailers, right? Because I'm like, I can't even remember the difference between these trailers, right? I'm genuinely, but I did the clip as you saw earlier in this video here, and I edited it quickly, right? Just took a few different clips from different trailers. And then I rewatched it genuinely here before I talk an hour, right? My own clip that I made. And I'm like, how many games I put in that? There's more than a dozen games. There was more than a dozen games, I believe, in that clip. And I was like, is that really that many games? They look so goddamn similar. It's even worse than my first impression, yeah. Now when I summarize it, it looks even worse. I mean, genuinely, what game is this? Which game is this? Right? If you show me this image after seeing the trailers of all the games announced on the thing, I would be like, oh, there could be like 10 of them. 10 of them can have this castle and exactly this color scheme of gray, black, white, and, you know, red. Yeah, they only have those colors, right? Black, white, which black isn't the color, but yeah, they only have this thing, and then they have red stuff, yeah. In the future of video gaming is very, very bleak. But seriously speaking, right, it's not just a joke, even though I do this kind of joking. Again, the games might have amazing gameplay and so on, but I do think it is very, very unfortunate. Now, of course, I'm a huge fan of Elden Ring, talked about it a lot yesterday, right? And today and so on, and last week, and talked about it for a while. I love Elden Ring, and I'm happy they won earlier today and so on. But the thing is that maybe a thing of this thing? Because I feel like every game is like Elden Ring now, right? They all look kind of bleak and so on. But our problem, though, is that Elden Ring looks better most of its games, right? Now, of course, gameplay is what matters most, I think, not the graphics. But I think an issue is that so many of these games have the exact kind of aesthetic, right? Black, gray, bleak, and red, right? And some of them, I will say this thing here, some of them look way better. So my full stream, right? And I'm like, yeah, this game here, this trailer looks a lot better than the other trailers, though. Certainly. Some of them have distinguishably better art, distinguishably better design of the characters, and so on, right? But still, though, that's like 1 out of 5 or something that looks different, right? Most of them looks pretty the same thing. And I genuinely can't barely tell the difference when I look at them from still frames, right? It is... Maybe I'm used to the lack of all the colorful waifus. No, but a little bit. I was like, hopefully, the only thing is like Nintendo games. I was like, Nintendo games, so they have color in them. But, no, but, you know, when this new crime game come in, you know, Michael Rooker and so on, and, yeah, before I even know the name of it, I'm like, oh my god, look at this game. It has colors, it's like the 90s, it's like disco, so, I don't know, something is happening. That was like, woo, you know. When Blue Protocol come, right, from Bandai Namco, some new action JRPG, you know, maybe it's a good game, maybe I like this game, generally speaking, but that honestly, for me, was like, whoa, look at this game, it has colors, it has blue in it, it is green, it has grass, right? We have the After Us game, where you're playing this thing and you're creating plants or whatever. I'm like, oh my god, you're creating green stuff. Those games that weren't this bleak, and generally looking all the same, like was one grey badass mess, right? They all look way, way more interesting, thanks to this game looking so incredibly similar. But I do think that from a general standpoint, I don't like where this is going, honestly, right? from a game developer and a gamer. Yeah, I don't like where this is going. I don't like that. I mean, again, I like dark fantasy, right? I like that, but the thing is that they all look the same. Because I already have the dark fantasy stuff. This is Baldur's Gate 3 for that matter. This is dark fantasy, right? But it looks the same to like, oh, here is some kind of morbid, I don't know, apocalyptic world, dystopian world kind of thing, right? They all look very, very similar. They have the exact same color scheme. And honestly, the bad guys in these like dystopian worlds, there's a kind of, you know, like Death Stranding 2, whatever, there's a kind of like the zombie something in this thing, right? Don't they look very similar to kind of like the necromancers in the fantasy game? They have all the same aesthetics, man. I'm really, really bored by this. And I genuinely mean it. I'm gonna get cancelled by the industry now. No, but Jesus Christ, man. I don't want to make another game, right? It feels like I really think it's going the wrong way, right? I made some jokes here, but I also am a little concerned that this is going hardcore the wrong way. And what I would guess, though, right? So I suppose, is that this would be a saturated effect, right? Every game can't be this dark, you know. FF16 is also darker usually. Every game can't be this dark and bleak. Every game can't try to be Nier or something, you know, with all like existentialism. So every game can't be that, right? And I don't mean that you can't make, you know, death-throwing hard games, but come on, like we need some pastel colors here. No, but it's like, and the issue I think too is that the storylines, right, from these games, almost all of them look to be the same as well, from a general premise standpoint. So I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna play the same game like 10 times? No, I'm gonna play like one of these games probably. I do think we're gonna have a mass saturation. So honestly, I think this is a bleak future for the gaming industry in the sense too, because if like half the companies are gonna make roughly the same game, at least from a premise standpoint, story standpoint, and narrational standpoint, right? Again, the gameplay might be very, very different, right? So yeah, let's talk about that last though. The gameplay though, one thing that I felt this trailers lacked to a lot, right, is the actual gameplay. And that's also why I don't have any confidence in it from a development standpoint, right? Because, yeah, you know what I mean, this is like not gameplay footage. Unfortunately, most trailers didn't actually have gameplay, right? For example, when we got to Jedi Survivor, which I think was one of the best trailers, I was also impressed by that game because it was almost only gameplay. I was like, man, it's a very long trailer. It has so much gameplay, right? That looked great, yeah. C56, that game is currently in beta, so we can play the game already, right? Also, basically, showing, you know, DJ, you know, and you're showing that stuff, right? It's almost pure gameplay. You're like, okay, this is great, yeah, it's pure gameplay, right? Most of these older trailers, especially these trailers, they're all bleak, boring, grey, red, right? These were all basically pure cutscenes, yeah. Almost all of them had only had cutscenes. Very few of them had gameplay. And that made it even worse, because you're like, okay, so it's like 10 trailers in a row that all have this grey, bleak mesh, right? And none of them having gameplay. So how do I even know which one is the best one? Because they all look the same, right? You know, from a visual standpoint, right? How would I... If I'm only probably going to play one of them, right? Honestly, maybe two, right? And they don't have any gameplay. I'm being a little exaggerating, but I'm kind of right? They didn't have much gameplay. It was kind of like, oh, it's the same thing. I don't know, what do you guys think? I feel the future of video gaming is very, very bleak, seriously. Like, if you show me this image here, again, I genuinely would not be able to tell you this is Baldur's Gate 3. Because it could be Returnal, this could be the Revenant game, this could be like 5-6 of the other games could have had this castle, right? This could be Elden Ring. Yeah, this could be so many other games in the list. This is a last example of it. You still get like Street Fighter 6, right? I'm also saying the best game ever there. I'm just saying that look how much more color the game has, right? And it's not like I'm like, oh, all about the colors. My point of course is that I'm just very, I don't know, just again, more than 10 games, right, in the trailers had the exact same color palette of black, white, and red, right? Yeah. But here we have purple, we got yellow. I'm just saying, it got green clothes on him. I'm just saying, it's a good example of like, man, I think the video game market is going to be very saturated. People are going to get really bored next year if it's like half the games look exactly the same. That is my point, right? But yeah, please subscribe, slap button, and have a great day.